Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of New York Giants football talk. Kenny K here, back for another week of fun stuff. Alongside my brother from another, good friend, Mr. Paul Rosen. How we doing today, Paul?
Good, doing well, Kenny. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I hope you had a good weekend. I know you worked a little bit, but hopefully Sunday was good for you. And I'm excited to talk about Giants football. Hey, today's March 23rd, exactly 1 month from today is the NFL draft. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about from now until April 23rd.
And Paul, not real quick. I do want to take a couple minutes that we were talking before the show started. Uh, You had another special achievement this weekend, Paul. You ran not only a race, but you came in first in under 18 group. Is that correct?
I ran a race. Yes, I did. Not quite under 18, but thank you, Kenny, for mentioning it. I was not going to say anything, but I appreciate you brought it up. It was a 5K race in one of the towns north of us in New Jersey, Ball Township, if anyone is familiar with that area. And it was a 5K race for uh, Dana-Farber uh, cancer research in Boston. One of the people who was running the race is running the Boston Marathon, and the proceeds were going to go to Dana-Farber, one of the top research hospitals in not just Boston, but in the country. And I was fortunate enough, maybe lucky, I don't know. I must be like fine wine. I'm getting better with age, not to brag, but I wound up finishing first in my age category. And like Kenny said, we're way above less than 18 years old, but no, 70 years old. I finished in first place. So always a surprise, always a shock. Felt good afterwards and very ecstatic and happy. So thank you, Kenny, for mentioning that, and I appreciate it greatly.
Well, you are truly inspiration to all, Paul. 70 years old and still coming in more, not first in just one race. I seen you in the summer nail it down in Wildwood, New Jersey, running the boardwalks, and definitely an inspiration, Paul. And for those who don't know, Paul had that Giants hat on this weekend. I saw the pictures. He wore that Giants hat, but great
Yes,
stuff, Paul. Uh, we also got our friend Bobby joining us for the show. So let's say hello to Bobby, Blackjack Surge Sports. How we doing, Bobby?
What's up, fellas? How are you?
good. How are you, Bobby?
Well, not too bad. Not too bad. The weather's horrible. We're spring. I got my St. Mary hat on, my winter hat, because we have baseball next week. It's gonna be 50 degrees. I'm gonna freeze my butt off.
I
It's March
know.
weather. Welcome to March.
Uh,
I mean, there was
Yeah.
5 degrees, 80 degrees, back to the middle there.
uh,
32 here in Maryland tonight. So,
and the
Yep.
weekend was like crap. It was like sunny, but like not warm. It was just
yep,
rainy.
Yeah.
yep. So what we're gonna do, guys? I'm gonna pass it to Paul. Paul's gonna run the agenda tonight. I'm gonna switch spots with him, and we got a couple fun ones for everybody tonight. So, Paul, take it away, my friend.
Thank you very much, Kenny. So, what we're going to do is both Kenny and I had what we call 5 questions, and it's about the Giants, and it could be just about anything. So, we both came up individually with 5 questions, and with Bobby on the panel tonight, we'll ask Bobby also the question. So, my first question to you guys, I'll go first, Kenny, and then I'll do my 5, and then you'll do your 5. Okay?
That sounds fine. Perfect.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you guys point blank: will the Giants win the NFC East? Kenny?
No, that not in year one, but it would not be a total shock. But I'm going to say no because you still have the Eagles there, Paul, and the Commanders will be better this year, and you can't count the Cowboys out neither. It's still the one of the toughest divisions in football. So I'm going to say no, unfortunately.
Bobby? What's your
I'm gonna
feeling?
say only if You get a total collapse by the Eagles, which I don't think is likely yet. I think it's happening, but not quite fully there yet, where they're going to be like falling towards the bottom of the division. I'll tell you one thing though, about the Commanders. I'm sure we'll talk about draft stuff, and as the show goes along. But I keep seeing our boy Love going there.
Yeah, we'll see.
And Brandon Ayuk. So those two guys to that offense, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
We don't
shall
want love
see.
to the Commanders for sure.
No.
Real quick,
no.
Paul, our good friend Ernie Mays is saying hello. Hello, Kenny and Paul,
Hey, Ernie.
and Bobby. Ernie, I know you don't know Bobby. Ernie's a big follower. He followed Kurt's show, Bobby, on the Broncos show. He's a big Bronco fan. He comes and support us here in the Giants show as well.
Where's Kurt, by the way? Where's Kurt been?
Kurt's got a meeting tonight over at his job. He's been very busy over there. Very busy person. But Ernie's out there in California, so thank you, Ernie, for hopping on early with us. It's early afternoon over there for you. Thank you for always supporting our shows here at K&K and Surge Sports, Ernie. Thank you.
All right. So let's continue on our Giants buffet of questions. My second question to you guys, we'll start with Bobby. If they don't win the NFC East, but they don't make the playoffs, will it be a successful season for the Giants? Bobby?
Well, if you're gonna preface that as just missing the playoffs, so I'm gonna assume they're 9-8,
Right.
8-9, and that's an improvement. That's the right direction you're looking for. Absolutely.
Okay. Kenny, how do you feel?
I'm leaning towards Bobby's way. So if it's even like a 7-10, that's a 3-game improvement and showing improvements. Jackson Dart's developing nicely, and our other players, young players, are developing nicely. I'll accept 7-10, 8-9, 9-8, missing the playoffs, but another 4-12 season, you're gonna have to go the other way. 4-13, I should say. So I don't think it's going to be that, but I would say successful would be a double up in wins.
Yeah, I would say so. Well, I agree with you guys. All right, question 3. The Giants this year will be one of the lucky teams, once again, to have to fly over to Europe, Germany probably, I think in Munich, to host one of the international football games this season. And the Giants have 9 home games, and I believe they will be the home team. So with that in mind, I have the 9 home games that they have on their schedule, and I want you guys to tell me which team you think they should play there. So of course, the Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, as we always know, the Cardinals, the 49ers, the Jaguars, the Titans, the Saints, or the Browns. Kenny, who do you think the Giants should play?
Did my research on this, and I said it can't be any of the divisional rivals. Can't be the Eagles, can't be the Cowboys, can't be the Commanders. Get rid of them, eliminate them right away. It's going to be an early morning game, most likely. I did my research. I looked up U.S. cities with the biggest German population.
Speckens
Columbus, Ohio is up there really as the third highest, and Arizona as well. If I had to think of which team probably would have a bigger turnout but bigger fan base in Germany, I'm going to go Cleveland Browns. So give me Cleveland Browns versus New York Giants at the Germany game.
Okay.
Because
I'm going to go
132,000 to 150,000. Arizona, Columbus, very close with each other. So give me the Ohio, Paul, with those numbers.
I'm very impressed with your research and knowledge of German population in those 2 cities. I'm going to go second, Bobby. I looked at this. I looked at the names of the teams on this list, and one name popped out like a sore thumb. I want to be able at about 12:30, 1:45 on that Sunday, be able to say, "In your face, Dabs," as the Giants beat the Tennessee Titans on on Munich's wonderful pitch, as they say in Europe. And I want the Giants to beat the Titans and shove it down our old friend Brian Dable's face. So I want the Giants to play the Titans and beat them. Bobby?
Not doing research like Kenny did. I came up with the same team. I have the Browns. Is it me, or does it always seem like the German games are the worst of the bunch? Like they just put the worst matchups in Germany. And I can see Giants Browns.
Yeah, I think so.
I like your sentiment, but I would like to see that game in the States somewhere. Going against
home game against the Giants. That's a home game, Titans, right, Paul?
Yeah, it would be a home game.
Yeah,
right.
Send them back here. Yeah, bring them back to New York. I'm with Bobby.
And I want to be the Jags because Jags own London.
That's a good point.
Exactly. That's why I didn't pick them. And the other teams, I mean, the 49ers we played last year, but the Cardinals and Saints, nah. So, but
Bobby asked
right.
for him. Hold on, Paul. Bobby asked for him. He must have heard his ears must have been ringing. Kurt Valenti coming in before his meeting. Boys, if Giants, this is definitely for you, Paul, and you, Bobby. Boys, if Giants don't pick Love, front office should be fired. Love is best player in draft and will be best back in NFL by year 2. There's only one problem, Kurt. The Titans are picking right before us. We got to might have to get ahead of them.
Yeah, Ken, I'm reading about that. The only way Love gets to us is if Robert Saleh, the head coach, wins the tug of war over Dable over a defensive player or offensive player.
Yeah.
Whether you want to stud defenders or they go for the offense.
I got a question that's going to segue into that, Bobby. A perfect question, that perfect comment that Kurt put there, because I do have a question that segues into that. That's good. We'll get to that in a few minutes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that whole situation. That was a good question, Kenny. All right. My next question, Bobby, with hopefully a better defense this coming season, how many sacks will the Giants have this season? Above 50 or below 50? Bobby?
What did they have last year, just for reference? Do you know offhand?
I should know that. I should have looked it up. I didn't, but I don't think they had 50.
I'll give you that answer in a second.
If we got a Sonny Styles, that could change the number, right?
And a better Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter, I think last year was growing pains plus maturity, right? Issues.
Mm-hmm.
But Carter had a lot of pressures, but didn't really get to the quarterback till the end of the season. I think that changes this year. I'm going to go 50 or above.
Okay. Kenny?
You know what? I don't have the stats in front of me, Paul, but I do have Burns' stats, 16.5.
Yeah, right.
Healthy Thibodeau. I'm not going to say 16.5 for Burns, but I'm doing in my math. Dexter Lawrence only had a half a sack. I think he's going to have the biggest bounce back year in history of football. I'm going to go over with Bobby too, with Carter and a more aggressive defense instead of Shane Bowen's prevent style crap. Give me an over with the new defensive coordinator for sure. And like Bobby said, if we draft a defensive guy to help out, for sure.
I'm going to sweep the board. I agree. I think we have a chance to get a lot more than 50. So we'll see.
All right, I'm sorry, Paul. Kurt coming in about Schefter. Adam Schefter said today, Titans and Giants both pass on Love, and he goes to Washington.
That's right.
Well, I'm glad you're the general manager for the Titans and Giants there, Adam Schefter. Like, how do you know what the Giants are going to do? I mean, it's just smoke screens. This guy thinks he knows everything. I don't believe it.
No.
If Jeremiah Love's sitting there for the Giants are taking Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
They're not going to let him. They're not going to let Washington take him or somebody else down the line when this guy could be the best player, best back in year 2, like Kurt said.
I agree. All right. My last question is a fun question, Kenny. Is Jackson Dart and his model girlfriend, Marissa Ayers, I think it's Ayers, I think he's pronounced it Ayers, the new Ken and Barbie?
Sure. And you know what, Mattel, he should be making commercials for Mattel and maybe a future cameo in a movie or something. Why not? Make the dolls, make Jackson Dart, a football player, Ken doll for sure. Why
Yeah.
not?
All right, Bobby.
Yeah, they tried to make that with Zach Wilson a couple of years ago, but Zach Wilson wasn't. He just played out as a starter. So yeah, why not?
Like it.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen Jackson Dart's girlfriend, Google her name, Marissa Ayers, Ayers. Stunning young lady. All
Nice.
right, those are my 5 questions. I'll kick it over to Kenny,
Okay.
and why don't you hit us with some of your questions, Kenny?
All right, Paul, I'll switch spots with us while I'm asking the questions. Uh, all right, you asked five. Now I get to ask five. First one, I'll go to you first, Paul. Give me either on one player, offense or defense, who's going to be the breakout who's going to not the candidate, who's going to be the breakout player, have a breakout season for the Giants this year.
All right, football starts and ends with that guy under center. And for me, it's going to be Jackson Dart. And the fact is, he had a very good season. It was a little rough with some injuries, but I think under John Harbaugh, new offense, Mike Nagy, he's going to be a breakout star, and it wouldn't shock me if he's going to be sort of like a Drake May light 2.0 with his season next year.
Like it. That means we're going to have a very successful year, Paul and Bobby, if Dart has that breakout year, in my opinion. Bobby, how about you? You can go the same way. You can go somebody different.
I'm gonna. I can't. I would. You can't go with Scatterboo yet because you don't know if you get Love. Scatterboo is 1A and 1B, right? So that's gonna kind of limit his ceiling a little bit. I'm gonna go with one of the two receiver signings so far, either Calvin Austin or Mooney, because if either one of them get the type of run that Darius Slayton gets without the drops, I think they can have a substantial season. And someone has to step up if Neighbors can't play week one. I like one of those two receivers to, maybe take a step forward and do something they haven't done in their careers, especially Calvin Austin, who's a little bit younger than Mooney.
Like that pick, like that's that'd be nice if one of those one or both of those wide receivers have a better. I have two other guys listed as well. I think Isaiah Likely has a chance to have a breakout season with the coming in, knows John Harbaugh well, but the guy on defense that I think is going to have a monster season is last year's rookie Abdul Carter. He came on late last year, ended up with 4.5 sacks after really struggling early. Got rid of Shane Bowen, new defensive coordinator that's going to know how to use him in a full year. I'm calling double-digit sacks for this guy, and he's going to have his breakout year in year 2. And going forward, he's just going to get better. So Abdul Carter, for me, would be my top choice. Isaiah Likely has a shot as well. Good answers, guys. Good answers on that one. Second one I got, it's a good question. Paul, let's go to Bobby first on this one. Right guard. We have our offensive line set, except for right guard, Bobby. Got Thomas, and we re-signed Illuminor. You got John Runyon and John Michael Schmitz back. The problem is, at right guard, it's either they got Stinney listed as the starter right now. Our good friend Evan Neal, saying that sarcastically, comes back and he's number 2 on the depth chart. Marcus Bowe is still there. Or would you like to see them draft somebody, Bobby? Or free agent? You could still go free agency.
I can see him draft somebody. It's just not the first pick. That's got to be a sexy pick. New regime, new head coach or whatnot. Why do I have this suspicion that Harbaugh is going to turn Evan Neal into somebody? There's a reason why he wanted him here, right?
He liked him.
There's a reason why he wanted him back here. And hey, maybe this is the year of redemptions, and he does something, and turns the doubters wrong.
Never know. You never know. And I will say a name we all know. Younger fans may not. Eric Flowers turned his career back, his career around when he left the Giants. But almost when you get a new coach, I get your point. Like when you get a new coach, it's like you're on a new team. You're playing under a new head coach now. Team changes. Look at Rudy, right? The famous movie there. He was going to be guaranteed to play and suit up for one game. The new coach comes in and he had to have everybody hand in their jerseys to play. So when you play for a new coach, definitely uh, might motivate him. Let's see. I'll let Paul go. I do have a different option, couple different options, but I'll see if Paul takes one of them as well, and then we'll see where.
I actually have 4 options
Okay,
that I
give me all
like.
4, and if you don't have any of them, and I'll tell
Okay.
you if you do. I'll read my options too.
All
If you
right.
don't,
My first one is to re-sign Van Roten. I mean, he's a little older, but he did have a fairly good year, and the offensive line held pretty much, and was not bad for last year. Put Marcus Bowe in there at guard. They played him around all the other positions except maybe center even. But hey, you drafted this guy, play him, especially with the Luminor now re-signed. You can solidify that right side. Or number 3, sign a guy that's still out there, Kevin Seitzler. He's a little older, 36, but he graded out pretty well as a right guard last year. So he still has something left in the tank. Maybe sign him to a 1-year contract. Or my number 4 choice, draft a guard. There's a guard who is pretty highly rated from Oregon, Emmanuel Fergon, one of the top 50 players that Daniel Jeremiah has on his list. I respect Daniel's football knowledge very much, and played at a big time school, Oregon, Big Ten. And the guy's durable. He's experienced. He's a little older, but you know what? Maybe that would be good. And you be sort of if they don't resign Van Roten, plug and play him, put him in there, and maybe you have something with a high draft pick. So those would be one of my 4 options.
I'm gonna, Bobby. I'm gonna shrink our screen from 3 to 2 because I'm actually in the same room as Paul because we share the same brain sometimes. So I'm going over by Paul. Those were all 3 of mine. My number 1 was to draft this kid, Emmanuel Pregnon. I've been doing some
Why am I
draft
not
shows
surprised,
with my
Kenny?
friends on their network, and Emmanuel Pregnon is very close to where we're picking. We might even have to move up. We'll see. But Emmanuel Pregnon would be my guy from Oregon to take over. I like him a lot. I would sign Greg Van Roten, just like you said. I got no problems if the Giants want to do that. Like you said, older in age, and Aaron Stinney and Evan Neal fight for a roster spot. 90-man. You got to bring your 90-man rosters in. So maybe that's where these Evan Neal re-sign Evan Neal and Aaron Stinney and all these guys to let them fight out for a roster spot. And Marcus Bowe, I like him as the backup swing guy. Played very well last year, but maybe he's ready for the step up. If these other 2 options fall through, let Marcus Bowe fight for that, Paul. See, I swear I'm going over, Paul. I'll see you in a second. You'll see that.
Yeah, I'm reaching for you.
Yeah, we're going into one body because we share the same brain. I did not think
Oh
you were going to
man,
have Emmanuel Pregnon. That was great. I love it, Paul.
I pulled another one out of my I won't say where.
Speak, Speaking of Emmanuel Pregnon, uh, next question I have. How about a trade up scenario? We're picking at 5, and in round 2, we're picking at 37. Paul, I'll go back to you first. First, a
Okay.
trade up spot. What would be the ideal trade spot for you, and what would you offer in a trade to try and
All
move
right.
up? Let's say I'm just gonna say for Jeremiah Love. We'll change the
Yeah, well,
question.
once again, you're reading my notes, Kenny, when you're not. I have it right here. My trade with the Jets, because if I don't care what Adam Schefter says, if the rumors are there that the Titans want Love, and if we want Love, everybody wants Love. I would trade up to the Jets at number 2. Ironically, the same spot that we drafted Saquon, but obviously you flip the number ones. I would give them Kayvon because they certainly traded Jermaine Johnson, so they're looking for a edge rusher. And I would give up my number 2 pick. So I'd give up the first pick, the second pick, Kayvon, and at number 2 I would draft Jeremiah Love.
I like that idea. I'm not against that. Bobby, you have a trade up idea?
Yeah, let's go to 3. Cardinals have a lot of holes, right? But they have a pretty decent offense, except for a quarterback. Being Brissett will last the year and whatnot. Let's go to 3 and give them this year's and next year's number 1, because next year they're going to be in that market for one of those stud 2027 quarterbacks. And do they have any more for? No, they don't. So yeah, I would go to 3 with a couple first round picks swaps.
I like that.
Because you have to
you
go.
have to give him 1. You might be able to get a 2. It's only moving up 2 spots, but I'm not against that for a caliber player like Jeremiah Love. Another fellow.
Jets are going a defense. They already got Brees Hall.
Yeah,
they're not going for Love.
Right. No, I get that. I'm totally there with you. Commanders might be in play to move up too, but I don't think they have the draft capital. Another fellow Notre Dame fan, our good friend Jody Moncrief coming in. So
hey, Jody.
I'm going to read his comment as Paul and Bobby. We know Jeremiah Love is the next Eric Dickerson. What do you think of that comparison?
Yeah. I'm comparing him, in my mind, more to Saquon, because Saquon could do everything. And he's more, in my opinion, and Bobby, you can agree or disagree, he's more of a cerebral player, which what I mean by that is he's just an overall complete back, blocking, running, receiving, where I never thought Eric Dickerson was that much of a receiving back. Obviously a fantastic runner, but I think in my mind, Love is a comparison to if you even want to put Bijan Robinson, because he's a very good receiver as well. But Saquon, excellent receiver. If you remember his first couple of years with the Giants, he had ridiculous amounts of receiving receptions for the Giants. So that's him. That's his comp for me.
Like it. I got one different than you guys. I'm gonna call our friends, the Tennessee Giants. I'm gonna call them up, and I'm gonna offer them flip spots 4 and 5. You know what? I'll sweeten the pot. I'll give you next year's number 2, and I'll throw in a player that Brian Daboll absolutely loves. Give him Tyrone Tracy. That may get it done. This might be a smoke screen. And Adam Schefter could be right. The Titans may be trying to pass up on him and maybe trying to get the best deal for 4 and get more picks. They need a lot. Jeremiah Love's not going to win them a Super Bowl next year. Maybe they value the picks. They get a running back in a trade or in the 2nd or 3rd round. And like you said, Robert Salah's there, Bobby. Defense maybe for him. You trade back a spot and you get Sonny Styles or David Bailey, Arvell Reese, depending on what the draft looks like. You still get your defensive guy a pick back, and you get a free player out of the deal, and next year's 2nd round pick. I would try that if I was the Giants in a trade up.
And one thing, guys, about Jeremiah Love that I think people kind of overlook, he didn't carry the ball all that much in college that most of these stud running backs do, because he had Jadarian Price. You had Aeneas Williams. They had a three-pronged running back approach at Notre Dame.
They did.
So well, he had carries not nearly as much as some of these studs that come out of college. Big John Robinson, if I'm not mistaken, also had a couple studs in his backfield at Texas. They came out and played in the NFL. Probably still here. So I think that's the closest comparison is Big John Robinson, and he's becoming the best running back in the football right now.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I think he's him and Gibbs 1A. If you want to argue that argument for another day, but Bijan's right there on top of my list for me as well. If we were to trade down, Paul, you got an idea for a trade down if the draft's not going the way we like, and you want get more picks?
Yeah. So I think I've said this. We've had discussions similar to this. I don't want to go past 10. And I think for me, the sweet spot would be at number 8, where the Saints draft. So if I were to flip first picks with the Saints, I'd go to 8. I would like a third pick, which we don't have, and a 5th pick. Let the Saints come up to 5. We go to 8. We get a 3 and a 5. And at 8, I think there are at least one of 3 players that we could get that would make our team that much better. Caleb Downs, who I'm liking more and more. Mansour Delane, who we spoke about last week, Kenny. And at 8, I'd go for Cornell Tate more so than maybe at 5. But if I can get him at 8, I'd be a happy guy for the first round of the draft, knowing that we then have a third pick in the third round, a pick in the third round, and then an extra 5th pick.
I like it. Bobby, you have a trade down scenario? Because I got one.
Yeah, I'm looking right here. I'm actually looking at this mock draft that's on one of the Notre Dame sites. The whole first round. I can see now. This is dependent on the Saints really falling in love with Cornell Tate, because this draft has them taking Makai Lemon.
Mm-hmm.
But if they really want Cornell Tate in that spot, I can see them moving up with us to do that and flipping. Like I said, swapping picks or whatnot. We fall to 8 and probably at that point, maybe get Sonny Styles at an 8. With the super
maybe.
value. Super value.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got one spot past Paul at 8, Chiefs at 9. And this is if the draft is falling where the Chiefs like it. If David Bailey's on the board or Arvell Reese for some reason, they have a couple needs. They need a corner and they need an edge rusher. I think they would move up for the elite edge rusher if Arvell Reese or David Bailey slip to them and they call the Giants. And it would be a similar pick wise for, like Paul said, but any of these players could be on the board for the Giants. Like Paul said, Caleb Downs, Mansour Delane, Sonny Styles, like Bobby just mentioned, Cornell Tate, or even an offensive lineman. And you can get a couple picks in return. That could be a nice trade down scenario for the Giants. If Arvell Reese or David Bailey's sitting there, you're going to have a chance for one of these other guys on the board if you have them all bunched together. So we could see a trade down for the Giants. That's why I brought that question up.
Yeah.
I got 2 more, and these last 2 are fun ones. We got Cam Scatterboo. We know he's a battering ram. We went in the offseason and drafted free agency, and we brought Patrick Ricard in. Let's create a nickname for that duo, fellas. I got one. I'll start calling them Step Brothers. When you look at Patrick Ricard, he looks like the older brother to Cam Scatterboo. I am so excited about seeing Ricard block for Scatterboo and have the battering ram behind them. So give me Step Brothers, and we'll do the photo with them in the sweaters. Maybe I'll create an image. I should have did that for the show, but maybe next week I'll have that image up for the nickname of the Ricard and Scatterboo duo. We'll call them Step Brothers.
I have a few, Kenny.
Yeah. Bobby, got any top of your head, or we'll just let Paul go?
Yeah,
I
let Paul
know
go.
that's that was a,
All right.
a tough one
I
to
have
think of
three.
top of your head.
I have three. The first one, it's been used in the past, but it might be very apropos for these two guys. The Bruise Brothers. The second one I have, if you remember the old Hollywood Rat Pack, the backfield would be the Scat Pack. And, we always had Earth, Wind, and Fire and Thunder and Lightning. The last one I have is everybody likes Bacardi and rum, right? This would be Riccardi and Run.
I like that one. I like that last. That's my favorite one out of the three, Riccardi and Run. I like it. Bobby, anything on top of your head? Or
Yeah, nothing's hitting yet. I'll let you know if something.
Yeah,
My
no,
brain's in high gear right now. It's gonna come up. It'll spit something out soon.
I know. Well, when you're not thinking, I got a good one to wrap it up. Last year, for those who don't know, uh, Paul had every player Paul wanted. Not every player, but Paul had the perfect draft last year. All the guys he liked all he talked about last year was Abdul Carter. If we can only get Jackson Dart, and then he started talking about Cam Scatterbill. We got all three of them. I don't want three. I don't want four. I want your perfect first and second round this year, Paul. That would make you ecstatic and make another video like you did last year when we drafted Abdul Carter.
Well, let me just say this. First of all, thank you very much, Kenny. I appreciated that shout out very much. That was maybe a beginner's luck. I don't know. But I just had a feeling about some of those players, and thank God that we had them on our team. For this year, my perfect draft. We've been talking about this young man for weeks now. If everything falls into place, my number one pick obviously would be Jeremiah Love. And if you heard me yelling and screaming for Abdul Carter, I'm going to have Luby hold the phone up, because if Jeremiah Love is still there at 5 when the Giants are on the clock and they pick him, you're going to hear me down in Maryland, Kenny, without a phone call. So with that being said, my 37th pick, this guy might be a little early, but I've been talking about this guy for weeks and weeks also. And I know we signed Tremaine Edmonds, and Micah McFadden was signed again. I have this guy, but then I have two others that I would like to mention. If they can sign a draft Jacob Rodriguez, I think this kid would fit in so well with this defense, and I would be ecstatic to get him as my 37th pick. Daniel Jeremiah, I think, has him as the 45th best player in the draft on his board. So the kid is outstanding. I think whoever gets this guy, he's going to be amazing. The other two guys that I'll mention quickly, we need defensive tackles. This kid, we went to Clemson once, got Dexter Lawrence. This kid, I think, with the Giants, he can be another guy you can plug in, and he can be a star. Peter Woods at defensive tackle. And the third guy, I love this guy also, and I think this guy is probably a perfect Seattle Seahawk, but Emmanuel McNeil Warren, if he's available at 37, big safety. John Harbaugh loves big safeties. This kid is an unbelievable hitter, savage hitter. If he's there, take him at 37. So those are the three guys that I'm looking at.
I love Jeremiah Love, of course. Rodriguez and Woods, I think, have really good shots of being there at 37. I think he might have to trade up for McNeil Warren. I'm hearing rumors that he may be early as like 15 to 20 in this draft.
No kidding. Okay.
He's that good. But no, he could still be there, could still be in play. That's your perfect draft scenario. I love it. Bobby, I think you're going to go the same on pick 1, on pick 5, but 37, you may have somebody.
Or I'm gonna go 2 quick scenarios. I'm gonna go us getting Love at 5, then coming back at the late first round, early second round. I was a train of thought. All right, my other scenario was for all right. I'm going with us missing out on Love at 5, getting Sonny Styles for the defense, coming back and getting Jadarian Price.
Oh,
Nice consolation.
okay.
Nice
That
consolation.
would be a great consolation prize, Bobby.
Because I think Price, again, I think they're 1A, 1B. Love's better, a little better. But Price has that dimension of a kick returner that I think would just make. I know they want to say what Calvin Austin might be that guy now, but if you get Jadarian Price, yeah, you're coming second place in the World Series of Poker. You're still getting a lot of money, a lot of fame, a lot of and you're getting a great player. I was trying to think what I was trying to think. The other one would have been we get Love, then we get
You taking linebacker or defense?
no, I was thinking, or maybe we get Sonny Styles. Love's gone, Price is gone, but we get one of those later first round receivers like Cooper or Denzel Boston.
That's it. That's it right there. You stole mine there right at the end. But
and then, as a fourth rounder, as a day 3 pick, late day 2, early day 3 pick. Something's intriguing me about this linebacker from Texas, Anthony Hill. He was like the top recruit in college. Kind of like didn't really do as much, but might be hungry in the pro. Maybe hungrier now, knowing that he was that lauded coming out of high school, had a decent career, but not the superstar everybody thought he was. And maybe he's one of those guys that just wait for the lights to turn on, wait to be in this show, to be a superstar.
I got a new face coming in. William Hathaway has a question. I'm gonna.
That's Bill. That's Bill from. That's Billy.
Hey, William. Thanks for joining.
May have to. Maybe you guys can help me with the question. I think the autocorrect got him, but I'll be real quick so we can get to William's question. Jeremiah Love, I would be ecstatic, but I'm gonna say he's off the board just for the show here. Guy that I fell in love with, and I would be happy to take him at 5. You both nailed it with Sonny Styles. I'd be happy too. So 5's probably going to make us all happy in one way or the other. But Mansour Delane, I'm falling in love with this guy more and more. Mansour Delane from LSU, the lockdown corner. We have a lot of wide receivers we got to worry about in the NFC East. And if we can get a lockdown corner like this guy's projected to be, sign me up. And then Bobby, Denzel Boston in the second round, the universe, if he's there, where the Giants are picking, you might even see a slight move up if he's there. I'm comparing him to Plaxico Burress. He's tall and he's deep runner, make plays, and we don't have that tall wide receiver. You talk about Carnell Tate being that guy. Well, pass on Carnell Tate. Give me Denzel Boston in the second round for sure. Great names there, guys. And that perfect segue into William's question, Billy, as we get into our second segment. But maybe you guys can help me with this. I'm going to try and answer this, Will. The autocorrect might have got you. He said, what improvements will the Giants in the personnel has key receivers? I'm thinking he might be asking what improvements the Giants will have with key receivers. Will, if you can help us out with the question. Maybe he's asking what improvements will the key receivers have? What do you guys think? How do you want to answer that question? I'll start with Bobby. Nate will ask the question. Are we expecting improvements from Neighbors and the new guys, Darius Slayton? What improvements do they have to? What do the incumbents and personnel, Slayton and Neighbors? What improvements do they have to have this year?
Well, real quick, let's backtrack a second. I was just reading when I was having dinner before the show, CBS Sports. And they were trying to align the remaining free agents and first-round draft picks to each team. So the one guy who was on 5 or 6 different teams was Jawan Jennings. He's not signed yet. He's that tough guy over the middle that, and he had him to the Giants. He actually had him to the Giants as one of the one of the picks there. So I don't know. I don't want to steal Paul's thunder, but I'll let Paul mention the scenario that I'm thinking about. But we have a running back who was a wide receiver. I'll let Paul say it. It's his idea that I think changes everything. We signed 2 decent receivers. I know you guys are a little more higher on Mooney than I am, but we didn't really hit that home run receiver yet. We got 2 great complementary guys who would be great in the room and cause a little confusion for the defenses when they're out there. But there's still that number 2 receiver, WR2, that's missing. So I think, as Bill said, if we're going to improve our wide receiver room, I think the story's still being written yet. I think he's not there yet.
Yeah,
he's not there yet. I don't think. And again, I'm not going to steal Paul's thunder, but Paul, you say it. You say what I'm trying to say because it's your idea.
So William's asking about the wide receiver room, Paul. That's how we're answering it. How do we make improvements to the wide receiver room?
I mean, what I had suggested a few weeks ago was that if the Giants were full on intent drafting Jeremiah Love, utilize Tyrone Tracy as sort of that jack of all trade, Deebo Samuel type of receiver where you run him a little, you play him in the slot, you use him on end arounds, you run him out of the backfield. You obviously he came out of Purdue. He had been a receiver, and utilize him in that fashion. So that gives you that much more of a receiver slash offensive weapon, jack of all trade type of weapon that you would have. So that's what Bobby was alluding to. Let me just say this then. With Neighbors, we obviously expect him to be back, or hope he's going to be back by the beginning of training camp, but you never know. So you need the guys that are veterans, the Calvin Austins, the Darnell Mooneys, and the Darius Slaytons, which I'll talk about in a second. Those are the guys that are going to have to step up to help Jackson Dart, and it's got to come from within.
Great question, Will. Thank you for that. I'll answer real quick as well. I'll just add, don't count. You guys are the Notre Dame fans. He's got a long. He's going to have a tough road ahead of him because it's a new coach and staff, new offensive coordinator in Nagy and Harbaugh. But don't count Bo Collins as a contributor next year.
Yeah.
And Malachi Fields in the draft in the middle rounds could be a sleeper for the Giants. So I do think the Giants address it in the draft. We just don't know where. If I had the answer, Will, I don't think it's first round. I think they'll add to the wide receiver room in the second, third, or fourth round of this year's draft and try and catch somebody, the second wave of wide receivers to fill that wide receiver room up. But don't count Bo Collins out. Again, he's going to have a tough battle to win a spot, but I've seen it before. He won that roster spot last year, had that injury, comes back this year. Maybe he gets a spot and takes over. So we'll see what happens. Thank you for the question, Will. Speaking of questions, our 10 questions are finished, Paul. Bobby, did you come up with a nickname, or want to just head to the next segment?
Yeah, they're both it's not Thunder and Lightning because they're both like beefy bruiser guys. Bruise Brothers is probably the best one, right?
Yeah, that was a good one, Paul. Paul came up with 3 good ones. I like Riccardi and Run.
Thanks. All right.
Definitely better than my stepbrothers.
Good one, Kenny. All right. So let's go to. Kenny's gonna take the defense. I'm gonna take the offense. We're gonna each name 3 players, obviously with new coach, new head coach, new staff. there's players on this team that just haven't stepped up. For whatever reason, they have not gotten it, and they're there, they're on the roster, but I think some of these guys are either going to have to show the new staff and especially John Harbaugh that they want to play for the New York Football Giants, or they're going to be hitting the road. So, Kenny, why don't you start your first guy on defense, and we'll go back and forth, and then I'll go on offense and back and forth.
Well, again, when you have a new coach and staff come in, we could have answered this. We could have asked this question if Brian Dable was back and probably say nobody has pressure because it was a carnival that he was running. But now you got an experienced, a veteran head coach that's going to come in and demand discipline. He ain't going to go for any, nonsense, not hustling. One of the captains has got to be on this list, and it's going to be probably the team captain on defense, if you ask me. And it's Dexter Lawrence is going to be under pressure this year, guys. A half a sack, did not get see sexy Dexy at all do his sack dance last year. This guy's got to have pressure on him. Paul and I were waiting for that breakout game last year, Bobby, and it didn't happen. Not only didn't have sacks, but he was terrible against the run last year. Another bad year from Dex, you might be looking elsewhere in the future. So Dexter Lawrence is under a lot of pressure this year, in my opinion. So that'll be the first one.
Good. That I like that. I'm going to give you one that might surprise you, but may not. I think the Giants were all in on Tyler Lindenbaum. Unfortunately, it was a little too rich for the Giants' blood, and they couldn't come up with a deal. And he obviously went to the Raiders. And Harbaugh has always had a good center to lead his offensive line. And John Michael Schmidt, he was a second-round pick. He's got to get his stuff together because I think, in my opinion, the Giants may draft a center, one of the lower picks this year, and bring in more competition for him. And Schmidt, I know he's been injured. I know he's had some poor performances and poor play, but I think he's one of the guys that is really going to be under pressure to play and live up to the expectation of a high draft pick. If not, I can see the Giants finding someone else new at center this year.
Absolutely. Got a new friend coming in. I'd like to say hello to Six Rings on YouTube. I'm going to give Six Rings. I'm going to give my co-host a couple minutes to think about this question. So thank you for the question. He wants to know who are our top 5 franchises, unbiased, in the NFL. I'm going to answer it as history. If you want us to answer it as current, let us know. Six Rings. We'll do that in a couple minutes. Thank you for that question, and thank you for hopping on and joining us over here. And real quick, if you do like what you're seeing over here on New York Football Giants Talk, give us a like on either Surge Sports YouTube channel, K&K Sports Show YouTube channel. You can also catch us on Surge Sports on your Amazon and Fire stream devices. Surge Sports also covers Seton Hall basketball and has some other great shows on there as well. Thank you all for hopping on, and new faces, always great to see. So Six Rings will definitely get that question. I'm going to give my co-host a couple minutes to think about that question as I answer my next one. Right, Paul?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
My next guy on defense is a guy that we picked in the first round, and I think he's got a chance to step up this year. I do, and I know people are down on him. I was a big fan of the pick when we took him a couple years ago, and that's Deonte Banks. I think he's got a chance to prove that he deserves to be on this team, and maybe with a different coaching staff, maybe like Bobby mentioned earlier, Evan Neal maybe gets a chance. Well, Deonte Banks maybe with Denard Wilson will get a good chance to get back to that first round pick that we drafted a couple years ago, get into that form. So I think Deontay Banks is going to be under a lot of pressure. If he can perform, I think he stays. If he doesn't, he's gone.
Yeah, I agree, Kenny. I agree. My guy has been here with the Giants on offense for the last 7 years. This will be his 8th year. And I think it's time for him to put on his big boy panties because no Malik Neighbors. Well, we don't know when he's coming back. No Wandale Robinson. And we brought in some free agents, but this guy, in my opinion, has to step up. He's been there. He knows I won't say he knows the system. This is a new system, but he's had the experience in the Giant organization. And Darius Slayton has got, in my mind, to step up and become a key contributor this year. If not, I can see him being gone. So that's another guy that's going to be under a lot of pressure.
Bobby, you got anybody you want to ask?
Well, I'm going to just piggyback on both of your selections. Kenny, yeah, Dexter Lawrence makes a lot of money, and eventually we're gonna need some of that money to, if he's not performing the way he's being paid, he's gonna have to, he's gonna go. So he's one that's gonna have to step up and, like you said, do more than he did last year anyway. And on Paul's side, yeah, Darius Slayton, great story. He's lasted 7 years now, like you said. Lasted a lot longer than everybody thought he would. Every time he thought he was gone, he somehow came back. He's like a cat with 9 lives. I thought he'd be gone at least twice now, right? On different free agencies or whatnot. And somehow he made his way back. But, there's a whole new regime now. And, I'll take him in Pittsburgh. He can go to Pittsburgh. I don't mind seeing him. Or who knows? Maybe he ends up in Tennessee, right?
Tennessee, follow them. Yep.
Yeah, but he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna last too long this season in the preseason. I think he's gonna be an early cut in a good way, so he can go somewhere else early enough.
Mm-hmm. Not a bad idea.
Paul, I'm gonna do this. Because Six Ring's been waiting patiently. I'm gonna answer his question. And then we'll continue with the offense defense. We'll give you and Bobby a couple more minutes to answer because I do have my 5 I'll give him. I'll go from 5 to 1. 5, I'm going to go our New York Giants, and I'm not being unbiased. I'm doing this as history in the NFL. Giants have been one of the original teams, been around for a very long time, very successful from, my not watching, I wasn't that old, but watching film, the 60s. My dad told me stories about the teams in the 60s. He was at the game, Giants versus the Colts. 70s, we were a little down. 80s, of course, our first Super Bowl. 90s, 2000s. Historic history. I'm going to go Giants, number 5. Not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm gonna go Patriots at 4 because of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. They turned that franchise around. And Drake May got him to a Super Bowl next year, so they rebounded nicely, and I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for many years to come. 3, I get the next 3 are historic teams. Green Bay Packers, number 3, Vince Lombardi, Brett Favre, Bart Starr, always had good quarterbacks there. Bart Starr, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Love now taking on the task. Hate to say it, but the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, is going to be number 2. I won't say much about them. It's a Giants show. And Bobby, your other team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, are going to be the number 1 team in the NFL, being unbiased. To my knowledge, you have only a couple head coaches in your career. You're running a franchise the right way. They have to be number 1. But back to my last defensive guy, and then I'll let you guys do your NFL stuff after Paul's last offensive guy. My last defensive guy is Kayvon Thibodeau. Another guy I was in love with for the Giants when they drafted him. Still love him. But there's pressure that, he's got the pressure. You're going to be traded. You're going to be under, Are we going to move on from you? He's on a contract year. This guy's got to be on that pressure list. Abdul Carter's waiting to take over and be the full-time guy over there. Kayvon Thibodeau's got a lot to prove this year, and he's hopefully he can get some playing time. If Abdul Carter has that breakout season like I hope he does, Kayvon Thibodeau could be a trade candidate, if not before the season trade deadline. So a lot of pressure for Kayvon. He has to be on that list. Bobby, thoughts on that, Ed, real quick, and we'll get Paul's last one.
I think Thibodeau's value to us right now is going to be in a trade for a mid-round draft pick or higher. I don't think he's too much. I think he's too long for this roster. Only because not saying he's not a bad player, but I think he has value in other business scenarios.
Sure, that could be a Titans, Detroit Lions come to mind.
Lions. Lions. The NFL is fun when the Lions are good. There's certain teams that are when they're in the playoff and they're in that contention. The Lions are one of them. I think the Bills are another one. And he can go either one of those two teams, right? But they both need help.
Yep. Paul's got one more offensive guy. I'm curious to see where he's going.
Yeah, I'll just mention these two guys that are quite honestly low-hanging fruit, so it's not that much of a reach for them. But Jalen Hyatt and, of course, our boyfriend Evan Neal, those two guys, what more is to say except if they don't prove themselves, they're going to be out of here. But my third guy is part of the offensive line, and it's in his third year of the contract, and I think he needs to step up. He's been okay, but not fantastic. But John Runyon, I think, is the other guy, in my opinion, that really needs to solidify himself under Coach Harbaugh. So he would be my third guy on offense.
I like that. Choice there.
Bobby,
you got anybody that we missed?
Why is Hyatt on the roster, by the way?
Yeah, I don't know.
90-man roster.
It is clear
no
after
idea.
he whiffed on that block that Dark got hurt on, right? Or got really banged up on that he gave him a look like, what the hell are you doing? And then every Giant fan's like, why is the guy still there? The quarterback doesn't even trust you anymore.
Yeah.
Why are you still on this roster right now?
Yep.
Ridiculous.
You guys want to hit Six Rings question to wrap the show?
Yeah, real quick. I'm going to take a little different slant on that and go with what we've seen in the NFL, say the past 6, 10, 12 years. I'm talking about consistency, about being good. And again, this is in no order, Six Rings. The Rams all of a sudden are a team that are, they're already the favorites to win next year and playing on their own home field. They just seem to put, with McVay there, they have a system, they take people off the street and the next week they're great, even if they're a role player. So I think the Rams are one of your top 5 right now. Seahawks just won a Super Bowl. Love their hierarchy and the way they do things over there. So Seahawks are 2. Pittsburgh, I'm going to say, because, hey, we haven't had a losing season in how many years? Now, that could be Tomlin. That could be, something was holding them back, and hopefully McCarthy brings it out, and we go higher than the first round of the playoffs. There's 3. Packers, are a whole different ball game with the, fan ownership. They're always consistent. They're always good. And let's go with Detroit, because Detroit is a team that it's a big year for Detroit, because they were the men, the guys for the past couple of years. Right, last year you missed the playoffs. Love Dan Campbell, great coach. Right, fires the teams up. He's a quote machine, and this is a big year for them to get back in contention. The reason why I'm not choosing the Patriots, Kenny, I think Patriots, they can't fall back much, because in their division, you have the worst team in football, the Dolphins, who are obviously blowing it this year. And the Jets are going to be better, but nowhere near playoff contention. I could see Patriots not winning the division. Bills take that over, but I think there'll be some regression from the Patriots this year.
I like that we answered it two different ways, and I agree with you on answering the way you answered yours. I did it as like a history and
Yeah.
going to the future. Yeah, no, I like that. I like that we answered it two ways. Paul, you going to answer it a third different way, or are you going to take one of ours?
I'm gonna be historic like you, Kenny. What a shock, right? We're thinking along the same
I'm
lines.
heading over again, Paul. I'm heading over.
Right, exactly. Come on over. The water's
Coming into
fine.
What was that movie, Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Right, exactly. Except I mulled over those girls from Texas, and I said, should I put them in or not? And I said, screw them. I said, I'm not putting them on the list because they haven't done anything in the last 30 years except lose or not make the playoffs. So screw the Cowboys. But I had every other team that you had. I had the Steelers, Patriots, Giants, and Packers. The one difference I put in were the 49ers that
my honorable mention. Yep.
Yeah, given their history, I put them in over the Cowboys.
Very good and great question there, Six Rings. Appreciate you with that question first. Put us on our spot there, you know.
So I'm guessing Six Rings is either a Steelers fan or a Niners fan, right? Well, don't both have 6 rings?
The Patriots have 6 rings.
All right, Patriots are Steelers, right?
Yeah. So I know. I think that's what he was. A Steelers or Patriots fan. I was thinking the same thing, Bobby.
Love it.
Right.
We're a little over the hour mark, guys. Want to get some final thoughts in? Any more anything else? We do a 2-minute warning. If anybody wants to throw a question out there while we're getting final thoughts in, comments, we'll read them on the air. We'll do a little 2-minute warning here for everybody, but let's get Bobby on first. Bobby, final thoughts, and what we got going on Surge this week? Anything special?
Let's do final thoughts. I don't know if you guys noticed it today, but our boy Tommy Cutlets is not only did he get paid this year, but he might be the second string quarterback in New England.
He got himself almost a ring. He got himself
almost a ring. He got himself an AFC championship ring, and he got a little paycheck now. He's a little more money to buy some more cutlets. And they informed the team that they informed Dobbs that he's being cut. So unless somebody else comes in, I'm sure someone will come in and challenge him. As of right now, Tommy Cutlets got a little money, and he got a little position now. He's got a little longevity, hopefully, in his life there in the NFL. As far as Surge, we're putting together the press releases and whatnot for, It's Not Your Fault, our new show with WWE superstar Gene Snitsky and the most famous referee in WWE's history, Mike Chioda. I'll be heading to Vegas in a few weeks, so we're going to take a lot of content out there for WrestleCon and WrestleMania. So look for the press releases for that this week. And I think we have Scoop Thursdays. He takes over Surge Sports on Thursdays. Our buddy Scoop. And tomorrow night we have at 8:00 tomorrow night. If you're a Seton Hall fan, we have David Gabriel on. He's been a walk-on for the past 4 years for the Pirates. Talk about his dedication and how it is. What's the walk-on life like? As he's he got his moment on senior night, and we're going to talk to him, see how his career went and what's next for him after Seton Hall.
Love it. Thank you, Bobby. Surge Sports, Amazon Fire TV, Surge Sports YouTube channel. Check them out. Good stuff as always, Bobby. Thank you for hopping on with us tonight. Always a pleasure. Paul, I'm going to give you the final thoughts. You're in the captain's chair there. I see you're behind the wheels there. So I'll be quick. I just want to thank everybody for hopping on. A couple new faces. Always great to see new faces in here. Love the questions. Love the agenda. Love the New York Giants, New York Football Giants talk with everybody. We'll be back next week. Anything you guys want to see, drop it in the comments. We'll address it. Send us a like. send us subscribe, like. It's free of charge. Helps the stream out. Helps us get noticed. And we're here for you, and we love doing this. So thank you so much. Enjoy your week. Paul, final words, my friend.
Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Bobby. Great show as usual, guys. Thank you, everybody out there. We do this for you. We enjoy coming on week after week, talking New York Football Giants, and it's great. As I said earlier in the show, exactly 1 month from tonight is the NFL draft, and that'll be the next big thing. A lot of speculations coming up over the next month as to what the Giants may do, not do, trade up, trade down. So it'll be a lot of fun. Stay with us over the next few weeks. We'll have some mock draft shows and looking forward to it. Thanks again for tuning in tonight, everybody.